In today's video, we're going to be talking about when to expect your first snowfall of 2024 to 2025, going over the annual averages of when you should expect it. Before we dive into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather underneath this video in the top right corner of your screen. You can find it in multiple places. We just uploaded our official snowfall forecast for 2024 to 2025, and that's going to be the actual amounts that you can anticipate. We will be uploading that to the YouTube channel very soon. We're also bringing our updated winter forecast to the Prestige Weather community very shortly as well, so be sure to check it out down below. Let's dive into things, and our first layer here is for a whopping, 50 of you that live in these dark red areas. You might not even be able to see it out in the Rocky Mountains. Some of Montana, some of Wyoming, and then some of Colorado there do anticipate their first annual snowfall during the month of September. Keep in mind that I have seen August snowfall before. I have seen larger, much more widespread snow systems in September/early October timeframe. So this does vary a lot, especially these very early season ones. But on average, it is September when they do see this, very late in September typically as well. So we shouldn't be dealing with this for a few more weeks, but this is the perfect time to make this video so that every single person around the nation, even the 50 of you that live in this dark red, are prepared for when to expect that snowfall. Let's go ahead and add on our next layer, and this is going to be the early October layer, and that's going to go from October 1st to October 15th, or approximately half of October, of course. So that first half of October here. In the bright cherry red, we can see that we get a lot more widespread here. Still mostly just the Rockies, but we're a lot more widespread with who is expecting to see it in that first half of October. Still portions of Montana, quite a bit of it actually. Also quite a bit of Wyoming down through Colorado as well. And then we're also including a little bit of South Dakota, Idaho, and Utah in this one. So that's the early October region. Let's go ahead and add our late October region, and we start to involve a lot more states here. So this is going to be for the second half of October, of course. So again, from that 15th kind of onward, and we could see Washington, Oregon there in the Cascades. We see portions of Nevada as well. Much more of Utah and Idaho included here. The entirety of the state of Wyoming almost. Montana as well, a large portion. Colorado, down through New Mexico and the southern Rockies as well. We do see some of the plains here, especially the northern plains, like eastern Montana into portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska there being involved. And then for the upper Midwest, we do see a very, very slim portion of northern Minnesota involved. The upper peninsula of Michigan, which is a very, very snowy area of the nation. That even includes a little bit of northern Wisconsin. And then kind of for our northeast friends there, the Adirondacks of New York, so kind of those northern mountains. We do see portions of Vermont, New Hampshire as well, and then northern Maine, which is also quite mountainous, also included in this late October region. So again, that second half of October. Let's go ahead and talk about our early November area, and now we're getting places. We're adding huge chunks of the nation at this point. And for this purple area, we do see a lot of folks in here. We're talking about a lot of the mountainous west, even including the Sierra Nevada now, almost the entirety of the Rocky Mountain range at this point, and then a lot of the northern plains, northern upper Midwest, I'd call it, some of the Great Lakes, specifically areas in western Michigan, as well as the upper peninsula of Michigan there. And then we see for some of the northern Appalachian mountains there, like West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York as well, into New England. We're seeing most of these areas that are at a decent elevation seeing their first snowfall by the first half of November. So again, that's going to be through about the 15th of November. So the 1st and 15th of November. Sometime between there is when these kind of purple areas expect to see their first snowfall of the season. Let's go ahead and add yet another layer here, and this one's kind of like a dark navy blue, and that's going to be your late November region, and this is going to be from about the 15th to the end of November here. So think kind of Thanksgiving time frame, maybe a little bit before for some of these folks. And we're seeing a lot of the west now, even some of the more medium elevation areas, and medium for them is still higher than most areas east of the Mississippi. So, medium elevation in the west is very, very high still. And we're talking about areas in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, California there, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and then some of the central plains now, like southern Nebraska into portions of Kansas. We're even talking about Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio there, especially the northern halves of most of those states. In kind of the Ohio Valley, we are talking about your first snowfall for the final half there of November. Now, the Appalachian Mountain Range, some of those areas that aren't even mountaintop locations, we're talking lower elevations in the Appalachian Mountains. We're talking about seeing your first snowfall as well for these areas. So definitely some more folks included, especially if you're in a hilly or mountainous area. Also, I didn't really mention this, but we do this video every year, but it is much improved. If you've watched these videos in the past, you would know that we're now using our Trilogy maps, which you can also find in the description down below, by the way. Very high elevation, very high definition, and you can tell that we've gone much further with the specifics here of this graphic. Of course, it's not perfect, and for some areas there might be some variables, especially with very, very stark differences in elevation. Keep that in mind that this map is not perfect. It did take me about 4 or 5 hours by hand, so definitely was handcrafted and a lot of effort was put into it, but still for the entire nation there is some areas in there that are not perfect, but generally this is your averages. Let's go ahead and add another layer here, and this one's going to be your early December area. We're talking about that more royal blue area. We're getting a lot more of the Pacific Northwest involved, even to the coast in some portions of Oregon, California, and Washington. We're seeing down through the Four Corner states, even the lower elevation areas seeing their first snowfall now. A lot of the Central Plains that weren't included, so more of Texas, more of Oklahoma, more of Kansas there. A lot of Missouri in this, southern Iowa, central Illinois, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, kind of like the rest of West Virginia, western West Virginia, and even eastern Kentucky. It's quite mountainous in that area as well. So early December is when to expect that. We're seeing some of the hilly and mountainous areas of Virginia, northern North Carolina, and then up through kind of Pennsylvania, Maryland, into northern New Jersey, southern New York, and then southern New England, even coastal Connecticut, Rhode Island, and southeast Massachusetts now being included here for the early December timeframe. So again, this is before Christmas. This is going to be the 1st through the 15th approximately of December. So this is still pretty early on in December, of course, but meteorological winter. So I would say we're crossing over the halfway mark for the nation, probably over it, because almost the entirety of the West is in this. So most of the nation is already seeing their first snowfall by December 15th. We're only a couple of months away from that. I cannot believe that this is what we're going to be dealing with just a few months from now. Again, a perfect time to upload this, and definitely interesting. I mean, this is all on the way. It's so hard to imagine how warm it is for some areas. Here is your late December area for this lighter blue, and that's going to touch the coast of Oregon, Washington, Northern California. We're getting down to Mexico as well, in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Up through more of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas even involved here now, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, straight through DC, Maryland as well, in kind of like the Baltimore area, down through like Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, central and southern New Jersey there, the entirety of the state of Delaware as well. So we're getting further south into the mid-Atlantic here on the east by this point, and this goes all the way through the end of December. Now, this next layer is January, period. So, your peak cold and snow of the winter for almost everywhere is going to be like that first or second week of January. So nobody really averages seeing snow after this point as their first snowfall. If you do not see snow on average by that kind of first or second week of January, then you really typically don't average seeing snowfall at all. And that does come in multiple different levels. If, for instance, the areas just to the south of this white area, you might average seeing snowfall every other year. So you almost average seeing snowfall. And then, areas in Miami, it might be like once every 500 years or something crazy like that. So there is definitely levels to it. But to the areas just to the south of here, you might see snowfall quite a bit if you've lived there, especially a long time. But that doesn't mean you average seeing snowfall on the average year. It might be, like I said, every other year, every 3 years, something like that. You might see snowfall. The new white areas included, it's a very thin band out west. So we're kind of going to ignore that. But we see a lot more of Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, the majority of Arkansas in this, western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, a lot of North Carolina, including eastern and southeastern North Carolina here. And then southeastern Virginia, my neck of the woods, it's all going to be coming in that January timeframe. Your average snowfall. Like I said, the areas in the north here, it's typically going to be, the first week or two of January. And then towards the bottom, you're talking likely the very, very middle of January, which again is that peak of cold and snow. And again, you could see snow in December, you could see snow in February or March and not see it in January. This is just the averages. The higher your totals are here, the higher the amount of snowfall that you see, the more it's going to follow the averages likely. If you only see snowfall like once a year, it could really happen at any point during the winter. This is just the averages, like I said. I know I've iterated that so much throughout this video, and as you've kind of guessed and we've alluded to, this gray area that now remains is really averaging no snow, but anything's possible. I always preach that, nothing new, and the world has existed for so long, so anything is truly possible. Miami could see snow. It's just extremely rare. The southern tip of Texas could see snow. My grandmother, she lived in Fort Lauderdale, and she saw snow in the 70s, which is notoriously cold winters, by the way, the 70s, but still, Fort Lauderdale saw snowfall, and I even want to say there was some flakes flying in the Bahamas at some point. That might have been the 70s as well, but in recorded history, these things have happened, so definitely possible, although very, very unlikely. So as we're going through the averages, I wanted to just kind of express how crazy the weather is, and it's what I love about it so much. It's just absolutely mind-boggling, and every single year we see things that we've never really seen before, and truly crazy stuff. So I just love it so much. It's so unpredictable, hard to really pin down, and it's such an incomplete science, and that's really what I love about it so much, the variables, and just seeing a new storm or new pattern or new something that's never been seen before, or at least not by me. I see new stuff every day, and I just love it to death. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, more videos just like this one coming out soon. They are available in Prestige Weather, many of them, and we have many more on the way in there. So be sure to check that out again in the description, pinned comment, and also in our shop section down below. For early access content, this one's been up there, I think, since August 18th. So this one was a very early access in Prestige Weather and has been in there for a while. So if you want to gain access to that, check it out today. It's only $4.99 a month. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.